Hi, I'm Gale, and I'm a professional photographer from Los Angeles, California. We're here in Costa Rica, and I'm going to show you some tips and techniques on how to get better nature photographs using Tamron's new 28-300 VC lens. Today I went to Manuel Antonio National Park, which sits right on the Pacific coast near the city of Quepos. Here's a place you can walk down a path for less than a minute and find something amazing to shoot everywhere. I found a huge clump of the biggest bamboo I've ever seen. It was about 6 inches in diameter. The light's great because the light's coming from the other side, so we're completely in the shade here. And there's still some water drops right on this bright yellow one. It's got that classic little bamboo segmented area there. So I can actually do this handheld with this stabilized lens, and it should be perfect. It's pretty obvious that the 28-300 VC has this phenomenal zoom range from, a wide angle to serious telephoto. But another thing about it, it's got a great macro feature, and it's very unusual to have a lens that's really got a serious macro ability blended in with an extreme zoom range. With the macro, I want to have the water drops be the kind of the point of focus and have everything else kind of drop off. So I'm going to shoot at maybe f8, and with a macro, f8 sounds like it's giving you a lot of depth of field, but with the macro lens, f8 is not much at all. It's going to be very shallow. Let's see how this looks here. Let's get in a little bit closer. With macro shooting, any camera movement or any subject movement is going to blur the picture. Well, the bamboo's not moving, but the camera could be moving. And I'd always use my tripod and a cable release and a mirror lockup to prevent that. But with this VC feature, I get a sharp image every time. Yeah, it looks good. Then we started walking down the trail, and we saw this huge spider web off to the side with a spider as big as you can imagine sitting right in the middle of it. But the lighting here was the issue. It just wasn't what I was looking for. The background was fine, but the lighting was so flat on the spider and the web that it needed some contrast, and just a backlight from an off-camera flash is all we needed. So we set up a radio transmitter and a wireless off-camera flash and had somebody back there, and I was aiming up at the spider web, and he was standing about 15 feet behind it, aiming this flash up at the spider web, and it worked out perfectly. Here in the park, without a doubt, probably the most popular and entertaining, for sure, animals are the monkeys. And they've got 3 different varieties, but the ones we were shooting this morning were these white-faced monkeys, and they make great subjects. That's assuming you can get them to sit still long enough for a shot, which they almost never do because they're screwing around just like the monkeys you'd see in a zoo. Their facial expressions are amazing, and that's part of what the intrigue that we have with them is they look so human-like. I don't shoot sports, but this is kind of like shooting sports because the subject's moving left to right, in and out, and then here you've got that added component of trying to get the right expression and a fast enough shutter speed to stop the monkey. On our final day, we went on a guided tour through a jungle area to hopefully find some of these scarlet macaws and some other birds that hung out here in the morning. Well, it had rained so heavily the night before that we were having to traipse through, pretty thick mud for part of the way. We ran into a really cool little area. Some of these ferns, the stuff is growing so much. It is literally just like a big giant greenhouse. And I found this really amazing, brand new little kind of a fern-like, looked like almost like a cross between a fern and pine needles. It was right down in the forest floor. And the 28-300 was perfect for that because I could get in really close with its macro ability and just drop that background out of focus. It was just amazing. I'd highly suggest if you haven't ever been here before, you'll have a great time and you'll have plenty of great opportunities to get good images. And remember, whenever you're interested in getting more tips on photography, go to the Pro Learning Center at tamron.com.